What's going on, everyone? So, I wanted to talk about the what if scenario if this tariffs thing is really long term and it's going to make statues more or less double the cost. Because, as of the filming of this video, China said they're going to tap on like a 30% tariff to America, or like 36% or something like that. And then Trump was like, you do that, we're going to impose an additional 50% on top of the already percent, which would make it over 100% tariff on China goods. And I'm just like, oh my effing gosh. That means a $2,000 statue is now $4,000 plus increased shipping costs. Like, it could cost $5,000 to get a one-third scale statue. That's a huge deal, folks. So we have to have a plan, a game plan on what if this is long term, because China said they're going to fight to the end. Like, they're not giving ball. But here's the crazy thing. The difference between how much China imports to us to how much like we import to them is a massive difference, like 5-1. So they're on the losing side. So their government needs to give in to Trump and be like, all right, calm down. Let's work out a deal. However, they're playing like the hardball and they don't want to give in, where other countries are giving in like, hey, we'll reduce tariffs to zero. So I'm just hoping the Chinese government wises up, because they do 5 times the amount of imports to the U.S. versus we do to them. So they're on the losing side. They have to give in because they're losing big time. Unfortunately, for us collectors, it will affect us massively, especially if we raise it 50%, then China will probably retaliate. And all of a sudden, it's going to be 1,000%. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? It's like 10 grand to import a statue. Oh my goodness. So we really don't know what the coming weeks and months and years are even going to look like. I'm sure they'll come to some final arrangement, and hopefully it's not too bad. Like, let's just say like a 20% tariff, like that. I wouldn't be like, okay, so I have to spend an extra, $400 on a third scale. Okay, that's acceptable. But if it's like 100 to 1,000%, game over, man. I ain't spending 10 grand on a one third. There'll have to be ways around this. So we have to get, we're gonna have to find ways, strategic ways to combat this. Like, maybe have the statue shipped somewhere else and then to a country that has less tariffs, and then mark the value really low. There's gonna have to be ways to do this. Also, folks, I need to put something there because I don't like how empty that is. You know what would look great is like the fungus from the clicker, like in the TV show and movie, or in the video game, where they have like the fungus with these. I would love to have a fungus wall. That looks so sick. But I threw the Jin Sakai poster there because I'm like, it fits, it looks good. I need to do something else there. I could do a Last of Us 2 poster, and that would fill it up, since Abby's right there. Anyways, here's kind of my game plan and the statues that I will consider canceling. Should the tariffs increase, the statues that are must-haves for me, like no matter the price, I'm pretty much going to buy it. Because, as you guys know, I did recently get a new job where I'm making triple the money. So money is not as big an issue. But still, I'm not going to spend 10 grand on a statue. Like a one-third scale, $2,000 statue. But here's the statues that are absolute must-haves for me. Both the Resident Evil. Lady D is actually set to ship here like in a month. And Resident Evil 4, which is quite a while out, so hopefully tariffs are fixed by then. Last of Us 1, which is like 6 months away. Must have for the Flankster Cave. Demon Souls arrives today. And then Final Fantasy 7, that's quite a while out, but again, that's a very expensive statue, 5 grand already. So if another massive tariff is tacked onto that, that's going to be a hard one to bite. But I do need that FF7 Dio to go there. And eventually Tifa and Aerith. We're 1,000% going to get the J&D Stellar Blade. Now, they are coming out with Taki in addition to Eve. They've already teased it, and it seems like it's their next main pre-order, so I'm very excited to see it. I don't know about Taki, because I believe the dual set is going to be like $34.99. So you're spending like an extra $1,500 to get Taki, and like, she's an okay character. Like, she's pretty hot, but she's no Eve. But I feel like all I need is Eve, but I could consider Taki. And Korea, because it's made in Korea, the tax import is less than China, so it's not going to be as bad. Additionally, Wukong bus will probably be on the chopping block if it's like a massive tariff, because that's already a $4,000 bust. If all of a sudden they tell me it's going to cost me 15 grand to import that, not going to happen. I'm going to pass on it. But I still am going to get a Wukong statue. I actually just purchased it today. It's the Uman Wukong one I showed you guys the other day. Allegedly half scale, but it looks 1/3, especially like when I compare it to like any of my 1/3s. It looks the size of a 1/3. It's only about 31 inches tall to the top of his head, which would be similar to like any of, I mean, these are 28 inches, but it'd be similar to like Shazam. Plus, he also has a pretty tall base. And then 36 inches to the top of the like the feather thing on top of his head. So it's roughly the size of Kratos 1/3, which has a massive base, but then this one has the massive feather to accommodate that big base. So I feel like it would work. We'd also get Zubaji. At a minimum, we get those two for Wukong and do like Zubaji, Wukong, Eve Stellar Blade, Kratos 1/3. No Wukong bust if the tariffs are affecting me the price of that massively. I would pass on that and just do the giant 1/3 with Zubaji. Those two, call it a day. Get the staff, which we're still going to get, and maybe even get like a Stellar Blade poster and or sword prop behind. Of course, Goku vs. Vegeta is coming along with all the Hellboy stuff. So I don't think here's the thing. I don't know if current pre-orders are going to be super affected by the tariffs. Like, we'll know in the coming weeks. But it's kind of hard to say because like on the Prime 1 pre-orders, when you pre-order and it's economy shipping, it says like all customs and duty charges are included. So does that mean that like the Superman 1/3 I ordered is not going to get all of a sudden tacked with another tariff? Because I mean, based off what Prime 1's initial pre-order policy is, yes, it would not get tacked with anything additional. What I pay is what I'm going to pay. However, they could increase the shipping cost to accommodate for that. Like, what if all of a sudden they say the shipping cost is $1,000 for the Superman, when in reality it should have been like $300? That's something we're going to find out, I think. But if the Superman 1/3 that I have on PO does increase substantially in cost, I would just cancel and just keep this set up as is. So I would cancel that. And that's the only thing. There's also the armory, but speaking to Hannah Lee, she says it's not going to be affected by the tariffs. That's if it still gets made, because I'm still doubtful because production didn't even begin last time I spoke to her. So we'll see what happens with that armory, but I'm still doubtful it's actually going to be made because production didn't even start. Now, Gandalf Ultimate, I just paid for cost on that, and that one included like everything. So that's coming, and this week, my Golem bust will be completed. So that completes that room. So, but here in the main room, as far as I know, I'm not going to get like hit with any additional charges on Ape Sapien, which is set to ship in April, and Hellboy. So we will definitely get that. And I'm getting all the Terminator stuff. 100% Terminator, no matter what the cost, I'm getting those. Now, based off the tariffs, I would pass on Wolf, Alien Romulus, Neytiri life-size bust, Wukong life-size bust, and probably just any future pre-orders at that point, to be honest. Because based on everything I just told you guys, I mean, I do really want to get a Pinhead 1/3. Silent Hill, I mean, I would probably just cancel that if the tariffs affect that massively. I mean, it's not a super expensive piece, but if all of a sudden it doubles in cost, I'd be like, just refund me. Although I don't think I'd get refunded on that one. And of course, we're going to get Princess Zelda no matter what. Although, yeah, Princess Zelda, she's already paid in full. And it's shipping included, so I don't know if all of a sudden come it hits customs, I get a email stating you owe us $700. I'm like, oh boy. So additionally, I do want to get Blue Box Hyper Kratos Silicon Bust. Now that's coming from Peru or Brazil. So I can't even remember which one, but I think it's Peru. We'll get that. And the Kratos custom varies. If that one's taxed with a huge tariff, like it doubles in cost, I would not get it. I just keep my current one, which I still love, and just pair that with the Blue Box Silicone. So, yeah, I definitely got to get the Blue Box Silicone Kratos, because young Kratos versus new Kratos, to me, it's almost like two completely different things. So even though, yes, it's technically the same character, but I do view it as completely different. One representing the original God of War trilogy, Greek mythology, Kratos, different personality versus the Norse, older Kratos. They are completely different in my opinion. And so I don't think one negates the other. So yeah, I definitely will get that. And that one, I am going to most likely be getting the prototype, the very first unit. And so it'll be great to show you guys in a video that. Additionally, like I probably just would not order any additional statues beyond that. Basically what I've said. I mean, if if we ever actually get a Hawkeye quarter scale, I will order it as long as it's less than 2K. If it's above 2K, probably not. But these tariffs definitely worry me quite a bit. I'm just hoping China gives in because they're playing hardball right now. And so they need to give in to Trump. Now, when I look at the grand aspect of everything, I do think these tariffs are extremely good. It's unfortunate that it's going to hurt us in many ways, but I think in the long game, it's going to tremendously help us. Because there does need to be some sort of reset based off like how much debt the U.S. is in and how much tariffs are placed on our country when we try to import to other countries. So, we're just getting constantly screwed. When Canada is placing like 300% tariffs on us and we place like a 2% tariff on them, that's just not fair. So there definitely does need to be a reset. So, yeah, but it just sucks for the collecting. I hope Trump does statues on a lower tariff. I don't know if there's a category for that, but I'm going to assume it'll probably be on the higher end. Because they know that China will make all these cheap toys and factories and sell them for 100 times the cost of what they made it for. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of my game plan right now for the tariffs. I am also not going to be pre-ordering anything. I think it's too risky to pre-order right now for several reasons. One, what if the tariffs get substantially worse and that company that you pre-ordered from goes out of business and they just decide to steal your money? That is very possible. So I'm not throwing down any more pre-order deposit money at all. I will only buy in stock, ready to ship, and I need to know the exact cost to me, including any potential tariffs. Like, I have to know those costs. If you can't tell me, I'm not buying. Now, I do have, of course, many of the statues I mentioned on pre-order that I've talked to you guys about. Several of them have just been paid in full, but other statues, yes, I really want to get Wolf and Scorched Alien, but those are already going to be like $4,000 statues. And if there's a massive tariff on top of that, I'll just pass. I got a pretty much perfect Alien and Predator setup. I got a Wolf setup. I don't necessarily need Scorched Alien because I have Alien Warrior and Big Chap and Dog. The 3 OGs, that's the main ones I really need. So we'll see what happens, folks. I'm hopeful for the future. We'll see what happens, really. So I think it's too early to judge. A lot of people are really judging and tons of crazy protests here in Utah. It was like 12,000 people at our Capitol the other day. My brother, who's a cop, he was working it. And the thing is, a lot of the people at the protest don't even know what they're protesting. They're just holding a sign. I think they're like paid for protesters. Goodness. You ask them a question why they're against it, and they don't even know. It's just crazy. I will personally never protest. I think it's a waste of time. Like, do these people not have lives? I'd much rather be home playing video games than standing outside holding some sign for 6 hours. No thanks. Anyways, folks, so I will be getting Demon Souls today. And then Gandalf and Uman Wukong will be shipping to me from China. Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens there. And then Gollum Bus, which I'll make sure the value's marked low, is going to ship from, I believe it's Switzerland or Sweden. So the tariff should be lower on that. Anyways, folks, see you in the next one. Have a great day.